Hey there, welcome. This is Metal Sharpens Metal, and my name is Daniel. Today we've got the song 11 Nights by an artist named Plini. He is a solo writer from Australia, down under yet again. I've been following his music for probably close to a decade now, and he's got some really interesting stuff, so let's check it out. Nice little moon symbol that he's had for a while. This looks like the spaceship from that Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence movie. Gosh, he's got like the lightest touch of his hands on the guitar that I've ever seen. It's so fascinating to watch. It's like he's floating. That is a Plini note. We'll discuss that more later. Ooh, that just got heavy. There's a nice little run. Whoa. That is an awesome riff. Wow, that was a cool little section. Sounded like it was leading into something else. I don't know. Maybe it'll pair well with another song in the future. So yeah, you noticed there were no lyrics in that one, huh?
Oh, whoops.
Whoopsie. Kind of a spoiler alert. That was actually the first time I heard the whole song. I had heard just the beginning of it, and I was like, I want to save this one. I'm always excited to open a new present from Plini because he makes some really cool music. What's also kind of funny is I know a lot of non-metalheads, a lot of my friends who don't care for metal, but they love Plini. They recognize his talent, they recognize his song composition skills. So it's kind of a double whammy of why is this song on the channel if it's barely metal and has no lyrics? Well, first of all, I think Plini still does fall into the metal subcategory because he has those heavier guitars that you heard. He has solos and things like that. So definitely more on the progressive metal side. But yeah, he's pushing the genre forward and he's using different instruments, and a lot of people are giving him the recognition that I think is due to him. So yeah, it's cool. He's made some really awesome stuff. He has written some heavy songs back in the day too. Don't get me wrong. So I don't necessarily jive with every single song that he's written. To be honest, this was not my absolute favorite song of his, but I usually find something that I can enjoy with his songs. He wrote a few EPs back in the day that went together. I think it was a trilogy of EPs, and they had this like recurring guitar motif through them all. So yeah, he's got really cool stuff that ties things together, huge attention to detail, really cool song structures. I can't remember exactly how I found Plini or when I learned about him, but I think it was when his EP had just come out called Other Things. And I actually reached out to him back in the day asking if I could use a song of his in a video of mine. By the way, hi Plini, I was smaller and less beardy last time we chatted, so what's up, what's good? But yeah, he was very chill about it and said I could use the song as long as I gave him credit and showed him the final video, which is more than some people can say. Yeah, you got to do it the right way. I also got to see him live back in the day, and I probably will put in a little bit of footage from that in this video, but the end section of Cascade that he plays just gives me so many chills. I love it to death. It is so epic. So he's a cool guy, and he would definitely be on the I want to shake your hand list for sure. I'm going to shake your hand! So even with no lyrics to dive into, I think there will be plenty to discuss. I'm going to be using the term moral quality to mean the way that God looks at things, with like kind of an absolute view of the moral quality of something. Now, I'm not saying we have a standard exactly laid out for that to perfectly answer every question, exactly how much morality does this have or this. It's not a formula. I'm not trying to say that. And I might be slightly wrong when I'm making these evaluations. This is going to be based on what I have pulled from the scriptures and my understanding as a Christian, but that is what I'm going off of. And another term I'll be using is structures, things that like government, school, family, church, art, medicine, science, things like that. And talking about how those structures can be oriented in a godly direction or in a direction that's away from God. Okay, so that's kind of the preamble. So how can instrumental songs have a moral quality to them even without a spelled out worldview in lyrics? Let's take the opposite extreme to prove the point. Would you say that a song with no lyrics has absolutely no worldview and is totally neutral?
No way, Jose!
I think that most people would agree that total neutrality is a myth, and that even instrumental songs can absolutely present a worldview of some sort. Granted, it may not be as clear as a song with lyrics, but the song was still created by a person who views the world with a religious framework and understands certain things about the world to be true and other things to be false, some things to be beautiful, some things to be ugly. So there's absolutely some kind of moral equation there. Take classical music, for example. Many of those composers were Christians, and they wanted to glorify God. They wanted to offer up the beauty and the skill it takes to write and to perform the instrumentation, as well as tell a story through different parts of the songs. There were real emotions displayed in the music with the changing dynamics, the notes, the tempo, and you could sympathize with the song just because of your shared humanity. So if I'm asserting that the Christian God is the standard of beauty and art, how can atheists and non-Christians possibly make beautiful music or beautiful art that even resonates with Christians? Now, I would argue that non-Christians can and have tapped into this beauty many times. We were all created in the image of God with the capacity for love, logic, many of the attributes that are inherent with God. And we're also surrounded by God's artwork 24/7, so we often have at least that inspiration to pull from. Our world was designed down to the last quark and the last proton by a God who sustains it every single second. Language, morality, science, history, even art are all possible only because of the God who is active. Now, I'm also aware of certain artists and musicians that want to take all these assumptions and turn them on their head. They want to be shocking and go against the grain to prove that art doesn't have to be confined to our silly traditional standards of beauty and transcendence. Some people would record like nonsense noises and put that out as an album, or just like playing, random notes on a piano. Or they would throw literal trash on a canvas and then sell the canvas for millions of dollars.
It looks like it was made by a 2-year-old monkey on a farm.
One guy even put a crucifix in a jar of his own urine to really stick in the craw of Catholics of his day. Unfortunately for him, God was not injured in the creation of this golden work of staggering genius. So some of the people I just mentioned have even made decent livings off of the efforts that I just described. Does that prove that art has no objective purpose and no transcendent meaning? As I touched on a little bit in the Viljarta song that I did, I think there are a couple aspects in how we can morally evaluate a song. So when the artist makes a song, there's a moral evaluation between them and God. Jesus says in Matthew 12:35-37, the good person out of his good treasure brings forth good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure brings forth evil. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. So if even a word carelessly spoken can be judged by God, how much more will our art and the things that we spread into the world be judged and evaluated by God? So let's say that the artist makes a near perfect song, whatever that means, and their heart desires recognition. Well, for them, it would be sin, despite the amazing artistic value. For the people listening to that song, they have their own moral responsibility between them and God. The song may drive them to worship God more and give him praise for the skill that he gave the musician and the beauty that he created in the world. Or it might drive them to sin by causing them to worship the artist as an idol, or even themselves as an idol. So the same song can be redeemed by some and misused by others. Just like every other structure in life, we can turn these structures Godward or away from God in our own hearts. I think we could discuss that a lot more, but I hope that gets you starting to think a little bit. For a deeper dive on this topic, check out the book called The World is Christ's by Willem O'Neill. I think I'm saying that one right. So even though we know that people have differing opinions on songs, right? Some people like this one, some people don't. I still don't think that means that true beauty is subjective, or that beauty is just in the eyes of the beholder. Because I'm not defining beauty as something that just comports to somebody's opinion. Hey, if I like it, that means it's beautiful. I'm defining beauty as that which comports to God and his creation. So in that sense, maybe we should call that objective beauty. And this more objective sense of beauty might be kind of hard for non-Christians to understand, but the Bible says that in some ways, our lives are described as like seeing through a mirror dimly. So the realities of God are not easy to see because they are being obscured by our sinful hearts and the world around us and the devil himself. But the more time we spend in God's word, seeking his truth in his heart, the more we'll be attracted to those true, objective, beautiful things. And the more we'll be able to kind of understand that objective beauty. Like I said, I don't think we're ever going to have 100% accuracy in determining objective beauty in this life, but one day we will meet the standard of that beauty face to face in heaven. So yeah, thanks for joining me on the listening experience that is Plini. If you liked that song at all, go check out his other stuff. He's very good. He's got immense skill. He writes incredible songs, really good composition. I think you'll like it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope that was an edifying discussion, and we'll see you next time.